What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what shorts did, and what's been coming out from Lucid itself. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did have a pretty kick-ass day, did close 1.41%, piggybacking off of the broader market's optimism, and that did stem from this. So PCE data, both on a year-over-year and also month-over-month basis, did come in better than anticipated. So of course that does mean now a kind of a stronger likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. So it did go from, I think, 49 to now 54.8%. Again, likelihood of that 50 basis point cut. And that is followed by, for the December 18th, this has gone up slightly. So essentially another 50 basis point cut from, I guess, the November 7th. So that would be very good for the whole market, growth stocks, EV sector, everything like that. And as well, at the same time, the fear and greed index did hold this week. So it is still under the greed category. So people's appetite for risk is very much there. No official news from Lucid itself, no SEC filings, nothing like that. This did come out from Lucid Oasis. I swear this individual, man, woman, whatever they are, gives more detailed content than Lucid itself. So it looks like this, they did have a grand opening at the Frankfurt studio, Germany. And I feel like it was just boarded up like earlier this week. So very quick turnaround time. And so there's a lot of good demand for EVs in Germany. And Lucid's way of marketing is just word of mouth. So getting it out there, and this is one very good way to do it. So hopefully we do see in Q4 and going into 2025, this kind of have a pretty good utility, good return on and more deliveries as a byproduct of that. Today, short didn't really do all that much. They did increase 167,000 shares. So a nice change of events from them kind of increasing millions of shares, but 30.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 270.49 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 6.68%, utilization 95.03. So I think shorts, as of right now, this might be premature to kind of talk on. I think they have just overextended themselves, and a lot of articles already are starting to come out, with next week being the first now week in Q4. A lot of people are just talking on now delivery numbers. So based on this, kind of goes to show what to watch for next week. Again, even though we're Friday, we can already start looking into next week. So essentially for Tuesday, October the 1st, they're kind of assuming some of these entities will unveil their numbers. We already do know NIO is very religious for the very first day. So we'll find out NIO numbers. Lucid, Tesla, and Rivian, they I think are kind of all sporadic within the first week and a half now, to possibly even 2 weeks. Usually Lucid is kind of the later of them all, so I don't anticipate to find out Q3 numbers just yet, or even next week. Most likely it'll be probably the following weekend. Based on Lucid's last earnings, they did kind of warn that this would be seasonally lower, and I don't really believe that all that much. I do feel that it's going to be roughly around that 2,000 for deliveries, and probably still another quarter that they did deliver more than what they produced. But I'll do a dedicated video all about my kind of expectations for production, deliveries, and everything like that. But historically, we can kind of look back, and Q4 every single year has been Lucid's best quarter. So yeah, I think that will be pretty impressive. It'd be really nice if we had a interview for Peter to kind of regurgitate that a little bit more. I know he's kind of insinuated that already in the past, but investors have short, like very narrow vision sometimes, so they need to be reminded almost every single week of some positive catalysts. No matter what, Lucid being included in this is always a good thing. Shows that they're important enough, if that kind of makes sense. But moving over to options, so 1.09 million in calls, 845,000 in puts. 61% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish. So today is a very big change of events that hasn't been happening with Lucid on this level of sentiment for a while now. So I think clearly some big entities are assuming that Lucid is going to continue to trend up. Of the call options that were purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above roughly around 450 by the end of next week. I don't know if people were buying based on this news right here in anticipation of Lucid unveiling their numbers, unless maybe I'm not aware. Did Lucid somehow say that they're going to be doing it the first week of October? As far as I'm aware, I don't think so, but I don't know. People seem to be optimistic about next week. So let me know your thoughts on that. Flip side, looking at the puts, you do see consensus for it to be sub 350. So very much optimistic. A lot more upside is anticipated. So generally a good thing. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. And so you'll be kind of surprised to find out the majority of the transactions that did occur from big money was selling. And so this is the importance and why I like to bring up where volume does come from. So majority of the volume did come from shorts as well as algorithmic trading. So the algos are picking up on the very optimistic momentum in the broader market and are propelling a lot of stocks higher as a byproduct. So big money is not really buying, but algos are. And next Monday is going to be the last day in Q3. So that should have a lot of abnormal volume coming from institutions as they do rebalance their portfolios. And so yeah, kind of stay tuned for that. So that should be a very volatile Monday. But right now with it closing at $3.59, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 313 is going to be that strong support. Didn't come anywhere close to that any over the last several weeks. And then $3.75, it did bounce off of that general area. So at least it does go to show that Lucid wants to move higher. And as of right now, it is above that 50-day moving average. So didn't actually even touch it at all today. So this is day number 1. So on next week is going to play a very big part for Lucid's technicals. As I've stated, needs 2 consecutive days to really signal a trend. And that 50-day moving average that it's been flirting with is a big one. And as I've brought up, similar kind of scenario did happen with NIO, them kind of flirting with their 200-day moving average, then it just broke out. So that might similar kind of scenario could play out to Lucid. We'll just have to wait and see, but that could come next week. As far as stochastic goes, it is at 20, so arguably very oversold. So a good piece of news, whether it is Lucid's numbers or some other point, then you could see a nice kind of rush of value investors. But despite that though, you see retail buying. So if you have been buying the Lucid dip over the last little bit, give yourself a shout out. I haven't been buying Lucid. I'm kind of just waiting for Lucid's numbers as well as just broader market data. I think a lot of people are still somewhat hesitant about a lot of the broad data, but yeah, if it does get to kind of maybe I'd say that low $3 range again, if it ever does get there, that's probably where I'll be a buyer at that stage. But yeah, you never know. If it does start to break out, you gotta jump on top of that bandwagon sometimes, right? Whether you are a long investor or just a quick swing trade for that, it's a fun, exciting time. And in Lucid's case, when it goes up, it means business, as what we can see in the past. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your thoughts, for instance, on the Frankfurt studio? Do you think that is going to be generally good for Lucid, or do you think that they should focus a little bit more on the States? Even though they've been opening up quite a few studios and their presence in the States has gone up tenfold over the last year and a half, do you think they should focus more on the States? Because based on last earnings, most of the deliveries did occur in the States, not in Europe. So I don't know. What's your take? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend ahead of them. Take advantage of this promo as well. A couple days left. It does give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal. With that said, appreciate all of you guys watching.